you a heads up, just warning you. Welcome to Story Time. And of course, I'm here with my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is always to my right side. And we have Chris manning the phones and doing all the technical stuff. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, everyone.
And who do I have next to me? Say good morning.
Good morning.
Say good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is my grandson, Reese Astle, who is my pride and joy. And you wanted to sit in, didn't you, this morning on Story Time? Because, yes, everybody, I've already put it out there a little bit, but yes, I'm going to tell a story this morning about the very first time I saw an angel. Now, the reason I decided to tell this story is, of course, first of all, it's December. Christmas is coming. Hanukkah's coming. Lots of wonderful holidays for lots of different people and celebrating different things in December. And so, yes, Reese, what? Oh, we don't look at those. Reese is pointing out that we've got people commenting already. And but we leave Chris to do that because I can't see what they say. Can you see what they say? Can you? Your eyes are much better than mine. So, all right. So this is our story time. So the reason, as I've started to say, the reason for me doing the angel stories, because it is December. Those of us who celebrate Christmas, of course, we do celebrate our angels as well. Years and years and years and years ago, I'd heard lots of talk about angels, of course. I went to Sunday school. I was a very good Sunday school student, but I was also a Sunday school teacher. See, some of you didn't know that, did you? Maybe I'll tell you that story one day. So we'd heard lots of stories of angels, and if you read the Bible, there are lots of stories in the Bible about angels. But truthfully, I'm a little bit, if I haven't seen one, I'm not really sure if they're real. And so when I first began my work as a spiritual medium and I started to have clients come to me from all over the world, it was, excuse me, it was very interesting because people would ask me all the time, did I believe in angels? And I would say, well, it's possible, but as I've never seen one, I can't really say whether or not they're true. So this is a story about my first encountering an angel. So shall we start once upon a time? All right, so excuse me. So once upon a time, as all good stories must begin, we know that, don't we? So I had a client who was calling me from California. Now I was in England at the time, so California is a long way away, right? And usually what I do when I have consultations with people, I suggest that they write a list of the questions that they have. And as we go along through the consultation, if I manage to connect with someone in the spirit world, then I'll answer the questions on the list. Sorry. Excuse me. Oh my goodness me. Sorry about this. I'm getting so something is getting down my throat. Right. So here we were with this lady from California, and I suggested to her that the first thing she did was to read the questions for me, read her list. The first question she had on her list was, can you tell me, Rosemary, who my angel is? Well, I listened to the rest of the list, but I wasn't particularly happy about how am I going to tell somebody who her angel is when I don't even know if I believe in angels and I've never seen an angel, right? So, sorry, I've got a real frog in my throat here, probably ruining this entire story. So I ignored the question. I thought, if I don't answer the question, I won't have to deal with it. She'll forget that she asked the question, and we can, sort of move on. So I answered all of her questions, and it was a wonderful consultation because her mother came through from the spirit world. Now, remember, I said that she was in California and I was in England. So, how could I possibly tell her that behind her desk was a big plate glass window overlooking the bay, overlooking the boats coming in and out of this beautiful spot in California that she lived in? And how could I tell her that I could see her mother's potted plants on her desk? There were 3 of them. How could I tell her what those plants were? Of course, they were her mother's plants, and I wasn't the one really telling all of this stuff. It was her mother who was telling me, and I was simply relaying the the information that I was given. So by the time we'd finished, this lovely lady from California, she knew that her mother was with us. She knew that her mother was watching. She knew that her mother knew that she'd moved house. She knew that her mother knew that she had a beautiful view of the bay. She knew exactly in precise detail all of the things that were on her desk, which was a huge desk that she used to work from. So she was very happy, crying, emotional, because it was lovely. It was a lovely thing to hear from her mummy. Right, Reese? That must have been a lovely thing, right? It's like when we hear from Silly Grandpa, isn't it? Or Piper. And so I thought I was going to get away with that one question that I wasn't sure I was going to answer. And she was thanking me and saying how grateful she was and how lovely it was. And thank you, Rosemary. But, she said, there's just one question that you haven't answered. Oh dear, I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to answer this question? Well, as I'm thinking about answering the question, and as I'm looking to Greg to say, how am I going to answer this question? I saw another lady come into my living room from the spirit world. It wasn't her mother. This lady was short and plump. To be honest with you, she looked just like anybody else. Short and a little bit on the plump side, with a beautiful smile on her face. And she's sort of smiling at me and she's waving at me. And I'm describing this lady, and my client in California didn't understand any of what she was saying, and she didn't recognize who this person was. But as I was talking on the phone to my client in America, the lady in my living room started to slowly turn around. And I wondered, what is she doing? But she was looking at me and smiling. And as I watched her, she began to turn very, very slowly around. As I've said to you, she was an ordinary looking person. She didn't have a light behind her. She didn't glow. She didn't sparkle. She was just an ordinary person until I couldn't believe my eyes, because as she turned, I saw her wings. And this lovely lady, this ordinary lady, had wings coming right out of her back. And then she turned her all the way round so I could see them properly. And then she looked at me and she smiled and she said, tell her, she meant her client, tell her I am her angel. My name is Mary. And then she said something to me that I'll never forget. She said, tell her, joy, oh greatest of joys, that she should finally ask for me. And that was my very, very first time of seeing an angel. She didn't have big wings and a halo. She didn't glitter. She didn't shine. She didn't have a brilliant light behind her. She looked like an ordinary person until I saw her wings. What would you do, Reese, if you saw somebody with wings on their back? What would you think? Would you think that they put them there pretending? Or would you think that they were an angel? What would you think?
The second one.
That you would think that they were an angel. Well, I knew then and there that the next time somebody said to me, Rosemary, do you believe in angels? I would have to say, what would I have to say? I'd have to say yes, because there she was in my study, in my house in England, not looking like an angel at all, just an ordinary person with beautiful angel wings. And again, let me just remind you, because I'll never forget it, she said, this angel, with a beautiful smile on her face, she said, joy, oh greatest of joys, that she has finally asked for me. And that is the end of the story. So we have, what do we have to say now? The,
Question.
no, the, what do we say after a story? The end. And now, see Reese now, did you like that story?
It was very quick.
It was a bit, well, it was very quick, because do you see all of these questions all coming in? We've got so many people from all over the world, right, Chris?
Yes.
Can you tell us where some people are from, Chris?
Well, they haven't said where they're from, but I can see some of our regulars, and they're from Italy and the Netherlands, many places around the United States.
We've had some people from Japan and Brussels and Brazil.
Where's Brussels?
Brussels, or that's sort of, well, we'll talk about it later. We'll have a look on the map for all these things.
Canada.
Canada.
And because it just said it in the chat.
Did it? We'd love to know where you're all from. So when you ask a question, we'd love to know what part of the world you're calling from. But we do have people from all over the world.
Norway.
Norway?
North Carolina.
What? North Carolina?
Argentina.
Argentina. That's quite a way away, isn't it?
Australia, Kansas City.
Australia, Kansas City. Whoa. Any more?
No.
Okay. So, all right. So, Chris, excuse me. So, I think we have one or two little housekeeping issues. We do have, because I told this angel story, and next week I'm going to tell another angel story, which is an unbelievable angel story. What, darling?
There are lots of people from Canada.
Yeah, there are a lot of people from Canada. But we're going to tell another angel story because just hold on a second, because wait a minute, because our webinar is on the 19th of December, and it's going to be all about angels. We're doing a Christmas special. We're going to be talking all about angels. We should say we're going to do a holiday special. So we're going to be talking all about angels, and
get tickets on the, you can go to the website and get tickets.
And that's my daughter in the background there. Thank you. If you want to know more about that, you can go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com. It's all one word. It's very simple. Just go in there. You'll see all sorts of things, and not just about the webinars, but lots of different things there are in on our website. If you want to know more about tickets, please go to rosemaryaltea.com, and it'll tell you how to get tickets for our very special Christmas special, holiday special. And I'm hoping, and I cannot promise it, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're going to maybe hear from an angel or two. You never know what's going to happen. And we might have an angel or two come in to talk to us on the webinar. No promises. But it did happen a few weeks ago when we were doing one of our live shows that an angel just turned up. There were two or three of them, and they stood in my living room, and I'm thinking, what? Angels? What are they doing here? But he come to tell us all sorts of things, so we're looking forward to that. So that's the webinar's on the 19th of December. And what else do we have, Chris? Oh, we have the Lee Carroll show coming up.
Yes, we do on December 9th. People have to sign up. The links are all over every one of your Facebook pages. They should be on the website. But basically, you're going to be having a conversation with Lee Carroll and Monica Moriani, and it's about healing. They do a program every Wednesday about healing, and they've invited you to be on their show.
So I think that's next Wednesday, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, it's coming up right soon, so you gotta get in there and sign up right away.
And we also did one part of our show with Chris.
Marla Hughes. I'm trying to remember the beginning part of it. The last part of it is innocent. Sorry, you caught me off guard in that one. It's on the website right now, though, the links to it.
Okay, there are two parts. One part is already aired, but I do believe you can still listen to it. And there's a second and even a third part that we've got going. So again, another reason for you to visit our website, rosemaryaltea.com. So that's it. We're now going to be taking questions. Did you want to say something more? You saw somebody else coming up there. Can you remember what you saw?
It was down there.
Oh, right, that's right. Can you remember where somebody was from?
UK.
The UK? Woohoo! We love them from the UK, don't we? Why do we love them, Reese, from the UK?
Because we were made there.
You were made there. You were. We were born there, weren't we?
We went. You went.
So, now then, do you want to say goodbye to everybody, or do you want to hang around for questions?
Could I just like sit and
You can do whatever you like. Do you want to sit with Mama? Okay, off you go.
Bye-bye a tiny bit.
Say bye-bye to everybody.
Bye-bye a tiny bit.
Bye-bye a tiny bit. All right, then. So, Chris, all right. So, it's, let's see, it's over to you. Oh. Yeah, you can't be both. You've got to be in or out. So, okay. So, he's coming back. All right. So
Everybody else on the end wants your position, Reese. They all want to be snuggled up to Rosemary.
Everybody else wants to be on the sofa with us, and they can't be because there's only room for the two of us. Do we have any comments on the story, Chris? Any comments or anything going on in that regard?
Mostly everyone's just saying good morning and hello, and they're happy to be here. And then the questions start.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is a serious part of the show, so no funning now. This is what I did say to you. Do you want to leave? Do you want to go and watch Santa Claus 2? Yes or no?
You
No.
staying or going?
Okay, all right, Chris, carry on. We're going to carry on.
All right. Andres has a question. Hi,
Good morning.
Rosemary. My concern is about my son. He is autistic and has terrible behavior. Despite of all the therapies, he is aggressive and shouts a lot. Has Grey Eagle any advice for us? God bless you.
Yes, I'm going to suggest, I did read this question, I think a couple of days ago. Reese, you need to really be still now, okay? So, yeah, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you. I'm going to suggest that maybe you'd like to try some guided meditations with him. Now, there are lots on the market. I have 4 or 5 of them. It's simply guided meditations. You can put them on. You don't even have to even ask him to listen to them. You can just put them on and just let him sort of connect with them in his own time and in his own way. I'm just trying to think that you can get them anywhere at any time. You can buy them on Amazon. You can go to Spotify. You can go to all of those different places to find the guided meditations. It doesn't matter if he doesn't understand the language, by the way, because the energy, and I'm now only speaking of my guided meditations. I cannot point you in the direction of somebody else's because they may be wonderful, they may be absolutely fantastic, but because I've not heard them or I don't know the people who have done them, I can't say that they're good or not good. So I can only speak to my own guided meditations, and it's about the energy, and it's about the energy that they create, not just within the house, but within the people in the house. It's about the energy that when you're listening to guided meditation, especially if it's by somebody who knows what they're doing, that energy will permeate. And I'm just wondering if he might benefit from doing that. And I would suggest that you just let the thing play, maybe for an hour here and an hour there, maybe 2 or 3 times during the day. Let him become aware, even if it's in the background, let him become aware of it. Let him become aware of what's going on. And of course, if we may, we'd like to put him on our healing list and certainly to send him healing on a daily basis. But try the meditation. Let us know how it works. But don't be in a hurry. Don't think, oh, I'm going to put this on and it's going to immediately work. It may well immediately work, but it may take a little while for him to absorb and to get used to what he's listening to, and get used to the energy that permeates through the room that he's in. But you don't have to sit him down and say, I want you now to listen to this. Just put it on as if you might put on a radio, or as if you might put on a piece of music to listen to. Yes, Chris.
Mark is on.
Good morning, Mark.
Some of us feel their presence. I felt the presence of my special angel when I fell from the garage attic stairs. I should have broken bones on my entire right side. I felt hands hold my head as he gently rested my head on the cement garage stairs. Will G and or my spirit guide Aldu eventually speak to me so I will hear them? I love the angel story. Can't wait to be with you on December 19th.
Well, I'm not sure whether you're angels. I think they do speak to you, Mark. It's a question of do you listen in the right way? Do you need a little bit more patience? I think if you're willing to wait, I think you will eventually hear them. But I don't think it's their lack of trying. I think it's sort of perhaps your lack of understanding as to what it is that they're trying to relay to you and the way that they're trying to relay things to you. Yes, Chris.
Mary's asking, is there a hell? Was the devil a fallen angel?
Oh gosh. Well, we'll maybe touch on that in the webinar. I think that there is a dark side. In my book, the Soul Signs, we do talk about the dark side. In my book, what is it? A Matter of Life and Death. There is a story in there which is about an evil entity, which I had to face. And, I did have letters from 1 or 2 people saying that they were so disappointed that I put this story in the book because it sort of, they didn't like to hear about it. But I'm a person who feels very strongly that if you know what you're up against, then you can prepare for it. And as I've always said, there's nothing to fear from the dark side of things, because remember, I'll give you the example of the 2 rooms. I know I've done this before. You have a room which is filled with light, and you have the room next to it filled with dark, filled with blackness, let's say. And when you imagine that you've got these 2 rooms side by side and there's a door between, when you open the door, what happens? Does the darkness dispel the light, or does the light dispel the darkness? And it's always the case that the light dispels the darkness. So as long as you are light, as long as you are full of light, as long as you're a good person, as long as you have light within you, you will always dispel the darkness. It will never ever beat you or sort of take you over. But I do believe, and if you read Soul Signs and you read the information about the dark soul, because there are such beings as dark souls who do come to this earth to learn and grow, just like the rest of us do. But whereas most of us, and it is most of us, it is the majority of us, come here to learn and to grow and to become more light, to become more bright, to become more spiritually beautiful and shining bright. There are those, few who, small percentage, who come here to learn to be more of who they are, which is dark. So there is a dark side and there is a light side. We like to focus on the light side, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're not going to be focusing on any negativity whatsoever. The world is full of negativity right now, as it is, and we don't want to add to it, do we? So we're going to focus on the positive and the positivity that we really need to get through these somewhat dark days of ours. Yes, Chris.
Maggie wants you to know she has a new member of her four-legged family.
Oh,
A rescued little 6-month-old kitten named Apple. She was hit by a car and left in the box in front of her daughter's vet clinic.
oh, Apple. I love that name, Apple. Oh, well, thanks, Maggie, for letting us know. I'm glad if she's with you, then we know, Maggie, that she's going to be fine. Boy, she really landed on her feet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris.
Ravi's got a question. So the background is, I just wanted to understand. My security money is stuck with a rental agency company, and every time I mail them to ask to refund my security money, they keep telling me they will do it at the earliest. And this conversation has been ongoing for the past 6 months. What do you or Gray Eagle feel I should do? Will I get my money back?
Well, obviously, they don't want to give it back to you, do they? How can I say this? So you might want to just go to a lawyer and have somebody send a legal letter. You've got so many days to repay this, etc., etc. It very often works. Of course, you don't want to take anyone to court. It's going to cost you far more than they owe you anyway, and you don't want to go down that road. But sometimes that little threat of something happening might just do the trick. You could also go to places like the Better Business Bureau, although I've never had any luck with them. I know that there are people who do. You might also want to put in the newspaper, this company owes me X amount of money. I mean, you've got to be proactive about this, I think, in some way. Otherwise, they'll hold on to your money unless they have a reason not to. They need to understand that in order to pacify you or to shut you up, they're going to have to give you money back. So perhaps you can get free advice. I'm not suggesting that, not in any way that you spend money on legal fees, not at all, but you can get free legal advice. So go seek free legal advice. The longer you leave it and don't do anything, the longer they'll keep your money. They've got no incentive, have they, to pay back? Why would they? So just, you've got to take some affirmative action here. Chris.
Shashi is on.
Good morning.
Hello, Rosemary and Gray Eagle. Hello from India. My question is, I'm working with Herbalife Nutrition, and I'm not sure if that's good for me. What does Gray Eagle feel about this? And if not, what should I do in my career? And what should I do that will help me make money and pay the bills?
Well, Herbalife Nutrition is, in its purest form, is brilliant. And I would think that you're in the right place because, you've got all of those wonderful choices in your country. I think the question is, perhaps more, is this a career path? And it can be, but I do see struggles ahead for you in this area. So I do see that eventually it will come, you'll come out of it and you'll do well. But please, I think the danger is here. Please make sure that the teachers you are listening to are worth listening to. Are they good teachers? Do they know what they're doing? Are they teachers who are wanting to keep you as a student, or are they teachers who want to teach you to sort of fly yourself? Because I know there's a lot of people who teach would rather keep their students than, it's a little bit like people going to a therapist. You hear people say, oh, I've been going to a therapist for 15 years. And I'm thinking, either the therapist is not very good, or you've got more money to burn than you should have, because really, if you're still going to a therapist in 15 years, then the therapist is lousy and not doing a good job. You become needy with the therapist, they become needy with you. So just, pay attention to what's happening and pay attention to your tutors. Who are these people who are teaching you? Do you know of any other students or anyone else that they've been able to teach who is now working for themselves and using the knowledge that they're able to give you? So you've got to check that out. Chris?
Bet is saying, Dear Rosemary, I wonder if one day I will be able to forgive my parents who are still alive for never giving me love, but only rules and duties. I thank my grandparents for loving me so much.
Well, better. We did an exercise on our last webinar called the bottom brick, and it's a healing process, and through using certain methods and certain ways of thinking, we understand that I think you're expecting far too much of your parents, quite frankly. I don't think it's a question of wanting to forgive them. I think it's a question of simply, if you can try and accept them for who they are obviously people who don't know how to share. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to give that love. Or it could be, as in my case with my mother, it's just, they just had an aversion to me. Am I going to hold on to the bitterness and the anger? Why would I do that? Because then aren't I just hurting my own self? So it's not about forgiving. It's about accepting these are two frail human beings with all their faults and all their flaws, better, just as you've got faults and flaws and just as I've got faults and flaws. I think you're expecting too much of people. We expect people to behave, and if you have expectations always cause disappointment. Nobody can meet everybody's expectations. Rather have hope than expectation. There's a huge difference. So I think it's not about your parents doing anything different. I think it's about you changing your mindset. If you just look at them as two flawed human beings who flounder around in their own, negativity, they flounder around, they can't be happy. If they couldn't share with you and if they couldn't give love to you, then they're not people who can possibly be happy. So rather than feeling angry about what you didn't have, be joyful. You had grandparents who loved you. I didn't, and lots of people don't. Be joyful that you had that. Let go of the angst and the bitterness that this business of my parents never loved me. My parents didn't love me either. Get over it. I'm being tough on you, aren't I? And I want to be, because you'll be ruining your life if you hold on to that. For the rest of your life. Try and do what I try to do. I thank my parents every day for teaching me how not to be. You saw me with my grandson. We have a loving relationship. My daughter was here. We have a loving relationship. I'm not sure if I'd be able to be that person if it weren't for the fact that I knew what it felt like not to be loved. So better, come on, get on with it. Move forward in your life. Your parents are flawed human beings. Give them a break, accept them for who they are, and move forward. Please, because you're worth so much more than this. Yes, Chris.
Valeria's asking for Gray Eagle's advice about her job as a yoga instructor. They want to know if they should return as a kindergarten teacher.
Let me see. I can't really tell you the answer to this because this is your choice. But I will tell you this, my lovely. You have a very special way with children. You may not like them very much, but you do have a very special way with them. And they do bring you so much joy. Why can't you do both? Why can't you be that teacher? Why can't you be that? It is a live show, isn't it? So just let me, oh, good. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm in my daughter's house. I have no control over anything that goes on here. So, why can't you do both? Why would you have to give up one? Because they seem to be both wonderful and joyful things. There's a thought for you. Yes, Chris.
Maggie's saying, I know someone was with me when I almost fell from a large hay bale stack. I heard a very loud, watch out, and then the hay hook landed in a solid bale when the bale I stood on broke.
Oh,
Who
good.
was it?
What? I don't know, Maggie. It might have been an angel. You never know. Keep going, Chris. I do love these questions. I have to just point out, I'm not all-knowing and all-seeing, Grey Eagle might know a lot more, but keep going, Chris.
So we have a couple of comments.
Oh, okay.
Vanessa is saying, hello, Rosemary. I love you so much.
Oh, Vanessa.
And a couple more good mornings to Rosemary and Grey Eagle. And hello from Canada. Jackie's saying, do you have any feelings on my son? He's struggling with depression and anger.
Goodness. It's a little bit it's a little bit difficult to say what I'm really feeling about this, because what I'd love to know is, where does this anger stem from anyway? What caused it? What created it? And a little bit like Better, I know, darling, you know, I've given you a hard time this morning, haven't I? You may never want to speak to me again. But holding on to resentments and holding on to anger is just purely a waste of time. Now, your son can do it for as long as he wants to do it, and he can do it for the rest of his life, but it's his choice at the end of the day. You might want to, talk about to him about accepting that there are things we can't change, and things that happen to us, things that are said to us. We might have a job that we lost, or we might have a girlfriend or a boyfriend who was mean to us, or maybe the dog bit us or something. There's always something going on for all of us, and we can actually have one of two attitudes, can't we? Because everything is about attitude. We can, accept that people are the way they are. We can accept that the situation is the way that it is. Move on, understanding that we know absolutely that if we fall into the negativity, we're only going to get more and more and more negative. But if we move forward, we accept that things happen, and perhaps there's a reason, because there is always, I talked about my parents, and I had a pretty rough childhood. It was not easy by any means, and I truly mean this, I am so grateful that I had all of that pain and all of those tears and, all of those beatings and all of the stuff that, that we go through. Many of us go through the same thing. And I'm so grateful because those things, living in that environment, really taught me how not to be. So you've got a choice, and perhaps you could talk to your son about, being grateful for the negative things that happen to us, because they teach us that we don't have to put up with it. We can be different. If we change our attitude, we can be different. We can be more positive and so on. So, you perhaps might want to try that point of view, but it's doubtful that you'll make too much difference until he's ready to hear you. Chris.
Vanessa's saying, I'm very bad psychologically right now. Does anyone have a message for me? God knows how much I need a word of help.
Well, Vanessa, I think you're your own worst enemy. So I think actually you might not really like what I'm going to say to you. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to put the doom and gloom out there for you, but you are such a lovely, lovely, lovely person. You've got so many good things going for you, but you're your own worst enemy, because you tend to sometimes go more to the negative and to look at what you don't have rather than to look at what you do have. you do know that you have healing hands, do you? I mean, you do know that you're a really sort of wonderful little bright star out there. You do know that you have everything. It's almost like, if I look at you as if I'm looking at a cake, because I'm a cook, right? And I look at you and I think, look at the ingredients. All of the ingredients are in place. You just need to mix them up and get them going. And, sort of really, I want you to really look at yourself. I think your problem has been that you've always been looking to other people to make you happy or to bring you happiness. You've always thought, if only I had this, or if I had this and this. But you are such a beautiful person. You can be beautiful all by yourself. And if you start to be beautiful, and if you start to be positive, and you start to recognize these things about yourself, you will find that all good things will come to you, because positivity absolutely attracts positivity. But negativity, oh boy, if you keep up this negativity, it's going to attract and attract and attract, and you'll be down in that deep hole and not knowing how to get out of it. So I hope I'm giving you this wonderful and gentle good kick up the bottom, because you have so much, Vanessa, so much. Gregor is saying absolutely. So this is from me, this is from Great Eagle. You are beautiful, so start living as if you are. Oh boy. Right, Chris.
Jude Rainbow Star as asking, is our guardian angel always with us, or do they come and go?
You want to know more about angels, Jude? You've got to join us on our angel webinar. But how much do I tell you? It varies. Each angel has their own mission. That's as much as I'm going to say to you. And I would say more often than not they come and go, but it really depends. It depends. And don't forget we have earth angels too. And don't forget that we have guardian angels. And don't forget that we have our angels who teach us something, and our angels who save us. And yes, there are many different types of angels. More on that on our webinar on the 19th of December. Yes, Chris.
Sarah says, it's hard to let go of anger. I find out of sight, out of mind works well until someone mentions a name. I have to say to them, stay out of it so we don't fall out of our friendship. You give great advice regarding not holding on to anger.
Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it? It's very hard when you feel that anger and that resentment, and it may well be that you have every right to feel that anger and that resentment. Let me tell you a little story. I'm going to tell you a little Christmas story, everybody. We're going to do another Once Upon a Time story. You won't like this story very much, but hey, you're asking for it. So, once upon a time, I was a little girl. I was 6 years old, and my sister was 18 months younger than I, so that would make her 4.5 or something. And we were in Germany with my father, who was in the army, and my mother was in the hospital. We'd gone to Germany so she could have a particular surgery. So we went to visit my mother, and as I've said, I was 6 years old, but this memory is one that I only have to think about it. I pull it right up there. There it is, right there. And so we were two little girls, and we came to my mother's bedside, and my mother was, of course, all over my sister, my younger sister, Madeline. She loved her, and what was not to love, and and my mother, as it was Christmas time, my mother presented my sister with this cute little baby doll. It had a pink hat, a pink coat, a pink dress, whatever. It was all dressed up. It had beautiful hair. It was lovely. This was a lovely little doll, and my sister grasped hold of it. And the weird thing was that my sister was not so much a person who liked dolls when she was a kid. I was the one who liked dolls, but anyway, and I was looking at this doll, and it was so beautiful, and it was so pretty, and I was sort of, wasn't I hoping for something similar? I don't know, because even by the age of 6, I'd learned that you don't have expectations here. And then my mother produced another doll, and this doll was sort of one of those. It looked a bit like a Barbie doll, although there weren't Barbie dolls in those days. But it was sort of long leg, long limbed. Its hair was very straggly. It had no clothes whatsoever. So here is my mother, and she's handing this beautiful little doll all dressed up to my sister, and here you are, darling, so on and so forth. And she grabs this other doll, here, this is for you. It was like, that was my doll. Now, am I holding on to the resentment? No, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what did it teach me? It taught me to always try to be fair. Taught me the importance of always treating children as much as you can the same, of giving the same. I was the one who was given the doll that nobody else wanted. And my sister was the one given the doll that was beautiful. And I remember the hurt and I remember the pain of it. Now, I've got two choices, right? I hold on to the anger and the resentment and my sister always got better than I did, which actually, by the way, she usually did. Or I can say to myself, wow, this is a good lesson. Remember that hurt, remember that pain, because this is what happens when you treat children differently. We should always try to be fair. And one of my pet peeves in life is when I see one child getting so much more than their sibling, because it just simply isn't fair and it's mean, and that's what creates disharmony in the house. It creates disharmony with our siblings, and it's not our siblings we have to look at to blame, it's our parents who do this to us. So instead of being resentful and angry, please take the lesson, learn from it, and be thankful that you had that lesson. That the doll, I don't know what happened to my sister's doll. I can't even remember what happened to my doll. Those things go, but the lessons, if you are lucky and you take them, those lessons remain. And that is the true gift. So in a weird way, although my sister got the pretty doll with all the trimmings and all the rest of it, I was the one who was really being gifted the true gift. Got it? Good. Do we have any comments about that story, Chris? I'd
They usually
love to hear your comments about that story. Now, come on, everybody.
we'll give them a minute to type in.
Okay.
But Dee has a question.
Yes.
I like to light incense in the morning as I do my prayers. Could you and Grey Eagle recommend what kinds of incense are good to help clear and bring good elements / energy to the home and environment?
Well, you're asking the wrong person here, because I whenever I come anywhere close to a perfume shop, a candle shop, an incense shop, my nose starts to twitch and I start to sneeze all over the place. I don't think you need anything at all. I think as long as you've got calm and quiet and you're peaceful within your own self, I think that's all that matters. However, if you are a person who is looking for something that is cleansing, I always go to the Native American roots and to see what they did. And sage is a wonderful thing to burn. You can buy sage sticks. You don't. That now the native make their own. Of course they do. But we don't necessarily have those skills. But you can go anywhere online, on Amazon or anywhere at all, and buy sage sticks. And if you get good sage sticks, they'll burn, and that you can reuse them for a while until you burn through them all, of course. But very cleansing and very, I do like the smell. Although I once, I was in Italy staying with friends. I'm not sure I should tell this story, but I almost burned a kitchen down, burning sage. It was a good thing that I had the presence of mind to throw everything in the sink and pour boiling water all over it. So do be careful, everybody out there, whenever you're burning something. Do be careful and be aware that fire, it's not always a good thing. Just make sure that you do it in a safe environment. There are also, I know there are certain, they have these certain oils that you have a small bottle, you put the oils in, and you have these sticks, sort of, I think they're bamboo sticks that the oil sort of soaks into, and that travels up into the air. And you can get some beautiful perfumes like that, but I'm not really the person to suggest what you should have. Chris?
All right. So the comments coming after your story are, that's so true. Thank you for this lesson. Rosemary, that's very true. My mom was very much fair to all, and I brought that with my daughters.
Nice.
Although, hold on one second, it just scrolled down. Although the ex let two of my daughters, he favored the third and still does to this day. Mark said frankincense is amazing. Jude saying, I'm struck by the level of detail you remember about your sister's doll, even though you were so young at the time.
Well, it was all pink. And I suppose there was a little bit of envy there as well. You know, there are certain things, aren't there, about our childhood that sort of stick with us. And I think it was the sort of the you know, sort of salivating over the doll and then receiving this awful looking thing. I suppose some things do stick in your mind, but I do remember that pink outfit, and I remember it was knitted too. So, you know, anyway, there we are. Anything else going on, Chris?
Oh yeah, so I'm continuing with that. So Johan says the key is to find serenity in oneself and good food.
Yes, I agree.
Karen says, you're teaching me so much about expectance, about dealing with bad parents, and lessons you learn rather than staying in the negative space about it. Hugs to you for the lessons you are teaching me.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. It's sort of, you know, I'm often asked by people, well, how did you do it? How did you learn to forgive your parents? And I didn't forgive my parents. I don't feel qualified to forgive my parents. I don't know what their backgrounds are. I don't know what caused my parents to be the way they were. So in order to forgive, I think first of all you've got to judge. So I prefer not to judge, but it's more for me. And I think it's a shame that more people don't think about this, because I know that everybody talks about forgiveness and you've got to find forgiveness. And I don't personally believe that you have to find forgiveness. I think it's much more important that you find acceptance, of other people. You find acceptance that other people have their faults and failings. Thank goodness nobody judges me for my faults and failings. You know, it's very important, I think, that for people to understand that acceptance of other people, you know, we're all of us, we're just little human beings struggling on this earth, trying to do the very best we can. And some of us have better tools than others, and some of us have had better lessons than others, and some of us take wonderful lessons and we turn them into negatives, and some of us, and that's when we hold on to the bitterness and the anger. But if you take a look at the people who hurt you, the people who damage you, the people who say mean things, and just accept this is who they are. And you know, I often feel so sad for those people. I know that my parents were never happy, ever, in their lives. How sad is that? Do I want to go that way by holding on, as they obviously did, to their hurts and their pains of their past? I'm not going, no way am I going that way. I'm going to be a happy camper. I'm going to be a happy person. I'm going to take the positives. I'm going to find the joys. And I refuse to be miserable. There, how about that? Chris?
Flower Sin says, you are talking about the things we needed help with, anger and letting go, not letting the poison grow and grow. The stories from your childhood about how you were treated are really hitting home. Thank you. And
I do hope, I really, really do hope that all of you are learning, or at least being inspired a little bit to be brave enough to let go of the hurts and to embrace the joys of life. Sorry,
and
Chris,
one last comment
Yes.
One last comment on the story. RT says learning is key to work to heal is to learn, in my view.
Well, yes, we could all agree with that, I think. Okay, how are we doing?
You've got about 5 minutes left, Rosemary. There's still
Okay.
more questions.
Okay, keep going for a little bit.
All right. Flower says, I have been wondering about so many things since our consultation. We'll have to email you. I'm trying to move forward since my husband passed a year ago. Each step in recreating my husband's business has been painful. My son has been working hard on controlling his anger. I see progress. Thank you.
Now, I don't know you, you're a flower coming here, and I'm not sure. I hope the consultation helped you. I'm not quite sure who you are, but I hope the consultation helped you, and I hope it gave you some inspiration and some insight into how you need to be in your life and in your future. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you had a really good session. Yes, Chris.
Andre says, why do I always feel empty in all my jobs despite an external improvement I got? Your comments will be appreciated.
Well, I think it's very simple, and Grail is putting his hand on my shoulder as I'm talking to you here. So this is from both of us. I think it's very, very simple that you haven't yet found the thing that fulfills you. And so you need to perhaps have a real sit down. It's not necessarily a question of changing your job. It's a question of perhaps changing, your ideas and changing perhaps the things that you might do that are outside of your job. I think that you are not fulfilled. So sit down, make a list, be thorough, be sensible, make a list of the things that perhaps you would like to have in your life that you might find more fulfilling. So many of us do not have the fulfillment in our work, but we find that fulfillment in our personal lives or in our social lives or whatever it is. I think that you are not fulfilled. You might want to think about, maybe reaching out to others and getting involved with others. I know it's difficult with this time of COVID and so on, but we can do that. Look, I'm doing this online, right? We can do that online. Maybe join a group where, you find, I do feel that you would be absolutely fabulous as a listener. And maybe you should put yourself in an environment where people can come to you and talk to you and you will listen to them. And that in itself is a gift. Chris.
Maggie says, I heard all will be fine early in the morning. It was a feminine voice.
Oh.
Was it a family member? And who was it? Or was
Maggie.
this you telecommunicating to me?
Stop it, Maggie. I'm going to let you figure it out for yourself. Keep going, Chris.
RT's saying, would you and Gray Eagle have any advice or tips for me, please? I can relate to your mother's story. Thank you.
You need to be a tiny bit more specific because I can give you tips on cooking any day of the week. Reason I'm having a baking weekend this weekend. I don't know what we're going to bake. I know one thing on the menu is chocolate shortbreads. I'm being funny now, I know, but it would be, if you can give me a specific area, we can certainly see if we can help you. We probably don't have time today, but we're here next week. So Chris, keep going a little bit longer, maybe.
Okay. Mark says, a neighbor of mine, the young man Zach who took his life, also took his cat's life as well. The house remained silent. It was sold and work as done, then nothing, almost as if some force prevents further improvements. I've not white sage smudged it yet. Does Gray Eagle have any forethought on this sad situation?
Well, very often buildings do retain energy, and very, very often people will, feel that energy. It's not that the person is still there, just to be clear. It's just that they retain energy. If there's negative energy, if there's sad energy or whatever it is, buildings can retain that, which is why as you've suggested, it is important sometimes to sort of put the cleansing out there. You don't actually have to go into the building to do it. You can sort of, using visualization techniques, you can visualize going into the house. You can visualize putting in all the colors and all the different types of energy that will lift the house and build the house. I do feel that the house won't be empty for that much longer. So that's a good thing. I just love you, Mark. I love the way you're thinking, and I love the way that you want to help. You're a true healer here. Chris.
Mary's saying, I was taught that you have to be a good person or you will burn in hell. So instead of the meaning is supposed to be negative, but to teach us that we better be good. Does Gray Eagle have any advice for me?
Well, I can tell you one thing, Mary. You won't burn in hell, that's for sure. You're too nice a person, too good a person inside. And that's not because you're striving to be, it's simply who you are. So that's one good thing. I think learning to trust in your own self. Look, the old way, the old ways of teaching, Bible thumping, not just the Catholics, priests, and so on, but we hear of priests who used to travel all over the place, and not just priests, but men of God, they call themselves, who preached hellfire and damnation. It was a way of keeping their congregation in check. And we go all the way back to the Bible, and you can read Bible stories where they would relish doing that, and would relish terrifying their flock into behaving. It's a form of control. And so if you can look at it that way, that people who taught you that were looking to control you, they were looking to control your actions, but they were also looking to control your thoughts. And if you still think that you're going to go burn in hell, Mary, they're doing a very good job still of controlling you. I can tell you, you're not going to burn in hell, my lovely. You're far too nice and far too good, and you're just reaching out into the light, which is what you should do. Keep doing that. Yes, Chris.
So, Rosemary, it's after 12 now. I've got a request from everyone that's still on, having to do with, we could use an army of earth angels here spreading the word of your events and your YouTube shows. And I'm wondering if people wouldn't mind taking a moment after the show's over and sharing it with everyone on their Facebook pages.
Oh, yes. We do need an army. We are looking for an army. Of course, my favorite is the Salvation Army. I love that. One of my favorite things to play with my Auntie Loseby years and years ago. There's another story, childhood story, I'll tell you. She could play the piano, and she went to church, and she knew all of the hymns, and she taught me how to play Onward Christian Soldiers, and I love that hymn. And so we're asking you all out there, can you be our soldiers? Can you be our army? Can you spread the word and put the word out that we are doing these angel webinars, all of the webinars and just let other people know simply by sharing. If you've enjoyed today and you feel blessed today to be with me, as I feel blessed to be with all of you, if you feel blessed, can you just simply click the button that says share and just share it out there? Because we're trying to get more and more people interested in what we're doing. And I think that would be, a fabulous and a wonderful way. If you want to join my army, that's what you have to do. Share, share, share. Right, Chris?
Absolutely.
Just remember, I'm the general. If we're talking about armies, I have to be the boss.
You are the warrior.
That's true. I am the warrior. I think that's we're ending on a good note there, Chris. I know you have to get on and do your thing for today, and I've got a grandson to go deal with. And as much as he loved being on the show, I think he's watching Santa Claus 2 right now. And we're just getting ready for Christmas. We're preparing for all of that stuff. So until I see you again, I shall be here next week, the same time, same place. The Lee Carroll Show will be on the 9th, you have to go and sign up. Go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com. It'll show you how to do all of that stuff. If you're interested in our angel webinar, please, again, you can go through Eventbrite. I think, Chris, have you put the link up there?
I have.
You can click on the link and go straight to Eventbrite to order your tickets, or you can go on my website, rosemaryaltea.com, and you'll see that not only do we have the angel webinar coming up in a couple of weeks, but we also have other webinars that you might be interested to check out. So please check them out. We should be back on Thursday morning with our The Spirit World Sees All, answering more of your questions and just generally sort of hanging out. And so until I see you again, did I forget anything, Chris?
No, you're good, Rosemary.
Email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, if you want anything else from me, but go to my website. It gives you all of the information there. And in the meantime, until I see you again, thank you, Chris, for all of the brilliant work that you're doing. I do appreciate it. I'd like to thank Great Eagle, of course, as always, for being here. And I'd particularly like to thank all of you for joining me. I love your questions. I love the fact that you join in. And I love the fact that we're trying our very best, and it seems to be working a little bit, to inspire you. So until I see you all again, please, all of you, have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Have a very blessed weekend. And remember, no judging now, accepting and moving forward. I think that's the message for today. Bye-bye, everybody.